Welcome, everyone, to our fourth session of our long-term care geriatric learning series and our second on communication. My name is Jeff Redikoff, and I'm a quality improvement advisor with Mountain Pacific and your moderator for the series. Today, we're going to be building on the simple tips from last month, and learn how to use them in tougher situations. So today's icebreaker question is, what is one food you hated as a child and why? Well, this is an easy one for me. It's mac and cheese. And the reason it's mac and cheese is because my school had a hot lunch program. And I don't know what kind of cheese they used in the mac and cheese, but it did not exactly smell appetizing. And to this day, I still cannot eat mac and cheese.
Well, and Natasha said in chat, yams. And
really?
texture was the problem.
Huh. Interesting.
I'd have to say for me, it was liver and onions. My dad, Bethany says the same thing. Her grandma loved it and she hated the smell. But yeah, my dad used to make us eat it because he swore it would boost our hemoglobin. But it was awful.
Oh, man. Anybody else have any foods that they've chimed in on the chat and they just could not handle eating as a child?
Yeah, one more. Black eyed peas.
Interesting. Very interesting. All right. Well, those are some foods that I'm just going to keep on my list of definitely avoiding. So today we're going to be building on last month's session about basic ways to talk and listen. We're going to practice using these skills when residents have memory problems, when families visit, or when things get really stressful. These advanced tips are going to help you feel more confident and make residents feel even more understood. So if we look at these goals on the screen, these are going to help build on the simple steps from last session and also help you use them when care gets real tricky. Strong communication still builds trust and helps residents feel calmer and less mixed up. So we're going to start with a quick check-in question here to kick us off. What is one communication win you have had since your last session? And if you weren't on our last session, please go ahead and feel free to chat in a communication win you've had in the last month or so. So again, just go ahead and please chat your answers in. We'll give you about a minute or so to answer. What have we got in the chat so far?
We have one comment from Natasha, communication with my staff and coworkers.
Okay.
I'd have to say one thing that I'm trying to be mindful of is picking up on the nonverbal from the person you're communicating with, because often you can tell if they're understanding or listening to what you're saying just by, their verbal expressions.
Absolutely. A lot of times you can learn more from that person just by watching them than listening to what they're saying. For myself, I'd have to say repeat back. And I actually used repeat back with my supervisor today because she had asked me something that I wasn't quite sure of and I needed a little more clarification. So I used that repeat back. Anything else coming up?
Yep, Natasha agrees. Nonverbal is very important. And Rachel shared that she wasn't a part of the last session, but just recently started a new role, and it is very different from being on the floor as a CNA, and has really dove into communicating face to face, as well as having to communicate via text or email, and that communication on the floor is very different than in her new role.
Absolutely, that is a good observation, Rachel. That face-to-face communication is so very different than any kind of electronic communications that we're used to. All right, thanks everybody for sharing. So from last session, a lot of individuals told us that simple words, eye contact, and the repeat back method made residents feel heard and helped prevent mix-ups. And now we're going to build on those ideas today to handle those tougher moments. So our age-friendly care, again, means doing the right things for older adults every day. The 5 M's are going to help guide daily care choices. And as CNAs, your daily cares are part of what matters. Good communication helps you listen to what residents want and keeps their mood and memory clearer. Your eyes and ears are the ones that have the power to make care safer and more personal for residents and their families. So here's another quick check-in question. What part of the 5 M's do you feel most shows up in tougher communication moments? So your choices here are mobility, mentation, medications, complex needs, or what matters. Please go ahead and choose the letter corresponding to which one you think it is. And remember, on this one, there are no wrong answers. So go ahead and take the next minute or so and chat in your letter. What do we see in the chat so far?
Looks like we have 1 choosing mentation, 1 what matters. We have complex needs, a couple more what matters.
Okay, all good answers. Today, the 2 that we're going to focus on as far as how communication connects are connecting with what matters and mentation when things get more complex. So those of you that answered with those 2 answers, great job. Communication is still about clear words and friendly faces, but now we add extra patience for harder moments. These skills help your whole team work better together and make residents feel valued. Many residents have memory problems that make talking harder. These small extra steps help them to be able to feel safe and understood instead of scared or frustrated. So when your residents have those memory problems, doing things like using short calming sentences, showing pictures or pointing to things, and giving them extra time to answer can really make a difference. And those were referenced, some of those were referenced by one of our panelists at our last session. Families want to help too. Good communication with them makes everyone feel like a part of the team and helps the resident feel much less alone. Think about this real life example. A resident with memory problems gets upset during care and a family member is watching. When the CNA uses these respectful steps, which are listed out in the bullets here, all 4 bullets on the slide, then the resident calmed down, the family member felt better, and care went much smoother. So just keep these 4 tips here on the bullet points in mind. Good habits stick with you when you practice them together. So when we look at these team talks, quick team huddles, and asking each other, these things help everyone stay on the same page and make the work feel much easier over time. Now we're going to hear from our panelists today, who are Mira Douglas from Missouri Slope in Bismarck and Rachel Minot from Hatton Prairie Village in Hatton. Welcome, both of you. If either of our other 2 panelists are on today, please just go ahead and speak up and let me know. Our first question is going to be directed to Rachel. Think of one time you used good communication in a harder situation. What advanced tip worked for you? And Rachel, if you're speaking, you may need to come off mute.
It looks like she's off mute, but might be having trouble with her audio. Because we can't hear you, Rachel.
And Rachel, if you're not able to come off, if you're having trouble with audio, you can go ahead and chat your answer into the chat. What advanced tip worked for you and how did it help the resident or the family?
Yep. She'll type in her response if maybe we want to, maybe give her a few minutes. She said it's a little long, and
Sure.
maybe we can come back to her.
We'll go ahead and move over to Mira then. Mira, think of one time you used good communication in a harder situation. What advanced tip worked for you?
Hello.
Hi,
So, may I just mention something? I had a hard time to sign in again. Will you please send us every time that link where we have to sign? Apparently, I went on the wrong one.
Yes.
Thank you. So, again, I had a resident leaving by elevator. She said she has appointment. And several CNAs were trying to distract her and telling her, no, we checked the book, you don't have appointment and stuff, and didn't work. So they asked me to try to redirect her, and I went to her and I said, so you are going to appointment? What is that appointment about? She looked at me and the elevator opens again. I said, can we pull a little bit away from here so you tell me which doctor you are going to see today? Yeah. And she started pulling away as we are leaving, 10, 15 feet. They are setting up stuff for bingo. And she said, oh, bingo is going today. I am going this way. So all situation, what was going for maybe 10 minutes, maybe longer, was resolved just by one right question. Tell me more about your appointment. So that's, you ask short, clear question, and many times it resolved the issue.
I love that question because that's a standard question that people with high levels of emotional intelligence use. It gives the other person a chance to speak and express their thoughts or their desires or their needs. So tell me more. That was the golden question, Mira. What a great one to ask.
Thank you.
So I'm going to ask you a second follow-up question because you've kind of already indicated how it helped the resident. What are some challenges you face in these kinds of situations?
I am professional caregiver, and I always have like my mind set up that I need to find a solution for every problem. Everything comes on, and sometimes you don't know how they will respond or react. But when I look at that person and make eye contact and I ask them the question, they can kind of relate. They know I am in good faith there, and I am there to help, and I will not just give up until we found the solution. But it's always back in my mind, what if they get really upset, and what will be the next step? Of course, I know the more if they get upset, we stay calm, we use the low tone of voice, and we just try to meet their needs.
And I'm envisioning you working with that lady by the elevator that you just mentioned. And by using that low tone of voice and staying calm, she can probably see in your body language how your body is positioned, and your body is probably not tense. I'm guessing it's probably fairly relaxed. And that just the resident being able to see the caregiver in a relaxed and calm body position probably really brings a lot of calm to that resident as well.
Yes. So.
And if you would imagine kind of the opposite, where maybe you're acting rushed and really short, and I think it sets a tone that the person you're trying to communicate with is not going to be as receptive or willing to kind of de-escalate the situation. So I love that practical scenario to kind of think about.
Absolutely. A person can't be calm and relaxed when they're also stressed and worried, because then that's going to completely change their body dynamics, their body position, and body language. So let's circle back to Rachel's feedback on these questions. What advanced tip worked for you? What do we hear from Rachel?
I don't see any comments yet. Oh, here we go. We've got one. I just, in follow-up, Natasha also shared that actively listening to the patient and family, and not just listening to answer, but help them to communicate their needs and wants better.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
So Rachel shared that the advanced tip that she used was what matters. And this isn't an example of a difficult behavior. We had a resident that just really was hard on herself. She wanted to get better and get her independence back, which is understandable. And she is someone that I had contact with a lot as she was on my list of people that I had. We had this conversation every time I was in her room. When it came to her mobility, she had a lot of difficulties and she really got down on herself. If something wasn't going the right way or going fast enough, I always stopped and gave her eye contact and reminded her to give herself grace. We took a breath together and slowed down. I always reminded her that it is okay to take it slow and that even though we want something so bad, we have to give ourselves time. Even if it meant I was going to be in her room longer, that was okay. I never wanted her or anyone I worked with to feel like a task. Sometimes they just needed a little extra time. And sometimes her husband would be around when we had our grace talks, and he was always so thankful that someone was taking their time and giving her the grace she needed. We always ended me with her leaving her room with a hug. I love that, Rachel.
That's wonderful.
I think that concept is something that so often gets lost in healthcare and caregiving, just that concept of grace. And especially for the individuals that are receiving the care, helping them know that it's okay. It's okay if you're not where you want to be health-wise or progression-wise. And I think we tend to be harder on ourselves than anyone else is on us. So, Rachel, just the fact that you were able to see that, sense that, hear that in her, and just coach her through and emphasize the importance of being kind and being gentle with herself. That's just a terrific example. Anyone else have any thoughts they'd like to share before we move on?
Don't see any more in the chat, just that Rachel feels bad that her audio is not working, but totally okay. We all have those troubles with this technology from time to time.
That's for sure. All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and move into our communication role play game. And so this is gonna be a series of 3 questions. We're gonna give the audience a chance to answer, give the audience about a minute or so to go ahead and chat in their answers on these questions. So our first question is, you have a resident with memory problems who repeats the same question. What is the best response to that resident? So go ahead and think about that and just put your chat answers right in chat.
Well, Bethany said to continue to answer with kindness and patience. And Mira said to I'm sorry, Rachel, to repeat back the question and make sure you understand what they're asking for and help find a solution. Natasha said you can keep answering the same question over and over and give them grace. And Mira said by using that body language that we talked about before.
All right, all good answers and all very, very correct. Well done. Okay, so our second question here is, you have a family member of a resident that's upset. Should you listen to them first or try to explain right away?
Looks like our answers are pretty unanimous to listen first. Listen first always. Explain later if necessary. Always listen and make sure they feel heard in whatever their concern is.
Absolutely. It's that old expression, be quick to listen and slow to speak. Our third and final question today is, you've got a busy shift and one of your residents is confused. Do you try to use the repeat back with them, or do you just keep going on with your work?
Looks like everybody's saying repeat back, and I love it, Natasha. They are your work. Repeat back to them. Rachel said, always repeat back and give them the time they need. Work is important, but the resident is a part of your work, and their confusion can cause other emotions. So true.
Great, great answers. And, you know, if those things are addressed right on the front side, a lot of times it will save you work in the long run. So good job, everybody. So as we close out today, our key point is that using communication in harder situations improves your ability to care for residents and also helps you and your team feel better at work. So Carrie's got a resource she's going to drop in the chat here. It is an expanded communication guide. You can download that resource. Just click on the link and download that, and it'll give you some extra tips and tools to be able to use when you're working with your residents on a regular basis.